Perez is a former Major League Baseball pitcher who has pitched for such teams like the Atlanta Braves, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Kansas City Royals, the Chicago Cubs. Currently, he is the coach of the men's team here at Lehman College, the men's baseball team. It is his second year here at Lehman. So, John Foster, welcome. It's a pleasure having you on the program.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We just spoke to your athletic director all about, all the different programs that are going on at Lehman, all the athletic programs, and he was telling me a little bit about what you're doing with the team. But before we get to the team and Lehman, I want to talk to you a little bit about you and your career as a baseball player. So how did it all start for you? Did you want to be what you became when you were a little kid, like the rest of us guys, or how did it start?
Without a doubt. I mean, every kid's dream, whoever plays the sport, always wants to get to the maximum level, because you see them on TV. No different here. I was always the kid who grew up playing t-ball in Little League and always wanted to keep playing.
Where was that?
In California.
So you grew up in California, and for you that was like the thing that you wanted to do. Did you always wanted to be a pitcher, or did you?
Always. So always wanted to be a pitcher.
Since so Little League.
Since Little League. Since I think I was probably 6 years old, 7 years old.
And so who was your idol when you were growing up? Were there some baseball players that you looked up to and you say, I want to pitch like him someday?
There's quite a few. The guy who really, and I don't know why, is Dwight Gooden. I loved the way he pitched. I loved everything about him, and I just I tried to pitch like him sometimes. But I'm left-handed. He's right-handed. But I just liked I liked the way that he looked on the pitcher's mound, and the way how well he did.
So how long did it take you to get to the majors? Because there's always a ball and.
Yeah, well, I got drafted in 1999. I was in the major leagues in 2002. So it took about 3 years.
And then you played with 4 different teams. As a reliever or starter, or you were basically a reliever?
Yep, out of the bullpen.
And when you got there the first time, and they said here you are in the big ballpark, what was that like?
Well, it's put it this way: the best way I could explain it would be it made all my hard work worthwhile. It made everything I sacrificed, everything that I didn't do, having a job and going out there and having no money, doing all that, it made everything worthwhile.
It paid for it all?
Everything.
And when they handed you that first ball, who were you pitching against? Do you remember?
Yeah, Diamondbacks.
Of course you do, right?
I was pitching against the Diamondbacks. But it's funny, you know the whole entire thing. I know I walked the first guy, I struck the next guy out, got a ground ball, and I struck the next guy out.
Do you remember exactly?
I can tell you every pitch I threw.
Wow.
You don't forget things like that.
We see baseball players all the time. Whenever they, reach an important point in their career, they save the ball of the 100 hits or whatever. Did that ever happen to you? That you had one of those memorable moments? I said, this is important. I want to hold on to this moment.
I pretty much save everything. I have every hat I ever pitched in. I have a lot of baseballs. I have the first baseball, my first win. I have those things, but it's hard to throw those things away because they mean so much. Some people look at the hat and they say, wow, this thing stinks and it looks terrible. But for me, I wouldn't give it up for anything.
So how did, again, when you got up there for the first time to pitch and they give you this ball and you say, okay, now you're in the big ballpark, what was that moment like in terms of like your family, your friends? What kind of response did you get from them? The support system is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, everything was just fantastic. You grew up your whole life wanting to do it, and everybody believes in you and whatnot, but I mean, the chances of actually getting there is pretty rare. So for you to really get there and be there, it's the pinnacle of baseball. You can't get any higher. So I mean, it's one of the greatest things you can ever do, and especially if baseball is your profession. So everybody was right on board with me, like, calling me. I called them. They came out and saw me. Everything. And
what would you say was like the key to your success? What was it that you could do with the baseball that made you successful?
I don't think it was what I could do with it. It's just I would say the toughness and battle that I had within to overcome anything. It doesn't matter who's hitting. It doesn't matter who I'm playing against. Nobody's as good as I am. you know, even though they might be better. But in my mind, I truly believe that nobody's better than I am. And then going in there and being tough and battling and going after somebody, never being scared.
Relief pitchers also have to be, I think, a little tougher when they come in. They want to scare you, some of them.
A little bit. Yeah, tough, and some of them are crazy, but most of them you got to be a little bit, because you come in there when game's on the line.
Right.
You have runners on base that aren't yours, and the worst thing in the world is to be a reliever and give up somebody else's runs. So I mean, you have to know that you can't just grab the baseball and throw it as hard as you can. You have to do it with a purpose. And
is it a challenge for a relief pitcher like yourself when the good baseball player gets up to hit, when the best baseball player gets up to hit, or do you wanna avoid those guys?
No, you know, if anything, it gets to test me. You know, I mean, the last thing I want to do is face the pitcher, you know, unless it's one of those days where you really don't have it, you know. But I mean, most part, you do have it. So you want to face those guys to see where am I?
To prove yourself.
Like, where am I? How good am I? Because you always second guess yourself.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about your new career. Now you're, you grew up in California.
Mm-hmm.
You lived there most of your life, no?
Yeah, most of my life.
So how come you accepted a job teaching at Lehman College in the Bronx?
Well, because I just retired last year. So, and I took the summer off, and I had to do something. I had to get back into baseball again because I missed it so much.
So you were off for a year away from baseball?
Yeah, just about, yeah, a little less, a baseball year, you know, 6 months.
Right.
So I started sending my resume out to every single school within 30 miles of Manhattan, and I saw that they were hiring here, and I said, you know what, this is a good opportunity for me to do this, because I don't want to spend this much time off of baseball. I want to get back into it.
But
again.
why around Manhattan? Why not back to California?
Because I live here now. My wife, when I was playing baseball, was going to Columbia University. She graduated from there, and at the time when I was playing, I told her that she can pick the home base. She gets to pick where we live.
Home base,
because
okay,
for me,
that's what you call it, right?
Well, yeah, because for me, I can be in 20 different cities. So she chose to be here in New York, and we've been here ever since.
All right, so tell me about your new team.
Yeah, the new team this year, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where these guys, where they look against other competition, put it that way. I've done my job of getting some guys in here. Now it's the time of them doing their job.
What is that job that you've done in getting some guys here?
You know, just recruiting, getting the guys that I think would help this team out, you know, from what I've seen them as baseball players. You know, I wanted to recruit baseball players who wanted to come to school, not guys who come to school who play baseball. A big difference, you know. I want a top athlete that wants to come here and play baseball for me.
But Dr. Swarren was explaining to us that under C, Division C, or the 3, I'm sorry, the program doesn't allow for scholarships. So therefore, how do you recruit people to be interested in coming to pitch here or to play ball here when you don't have money to give them?
Well, what I do is I do in-state. I only recruit in-state, and I'll do some stuff out of state, but I stay in-state. I go upstate New York, I stay within the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, I go everywhere.
And you basically tell them what? I'm building this team in Lehman College, and you should be part of it because?
Because I think you're a good baseball player who can help us out.
And because the Lehman team will eventually give them notoriety as well?
Without a doubt. I mean, nobody likes losing. Losing's not fun no matter where you go. I mean, even when I was in the major leagues, if you lose, it's not fun.
Right.
So why not try to be the best that you can at everything? So I mean, if I need more pitchers, I need to go get more pitchers to make us a better team. You know, I mean, that's what I have to do. You know, my job is to field a team that's ready to play and to win, and who wants to win, not just wants to play. They want to win, and they need it, and they believe it.